Good morning, afternoon, and evening, wherever you are, and welcome to another NerdTube trailer reaction. I am Cousin Cheeto of NerdTube. I am joined by my compatriot or I'm sorry, my Asgardian in arms, Rev Jake. How you doing?
Doing great. Excited for another trailer and the continuation of Thor.
Yeah, the MCU. Just a little backstory here. I was not a fan of Thor Ragnarok. I did not like it at all. Um, I'm
Oh,
I am glad that the character got revitalized and got changed up a little bit. I just didn't like Taika Waititi's take on it. So that's fine. I know I'm in the minority and I understand that.
I,
Um, Go
I
ahead.
think the movie's a lot of fun, but I have to say I do really enjoy the theatrics of the more traditional Thor character that we get in one and two. But even outside of that, last Thor was so much fun that I had to love it.
There were certain things to like about it, but there was definitely anyway. So you're here to watch the trailer with us. So let's get right into it, and then we'll talk more afterwards. So I'm gonna switch this to here. All right, and let's get going. Can you hear that? Okay, Rev.
Kids, get
Oh
your
yeah,
popcorn now. Let me tell you the story of the
yeah.
space Viking, Thor Odin. He was no ordinary man. He was a god.
The gold.
After saving
Yeah,
planet Earth for the
I
500th
love how
time,
there's
Thor
yachts in
set
the
off on a
background,
new journey.
right.
Well, he got in shape.
or not
He
yachts,
went from
cruise
dad
lines.
bod to god bod.
Oh man, I'm loving the
And
Thor.
after all that, he reclaimed his title as the one and only Thor. Oh, spoke too soon.
Thor's not a title.
Jane?
Thor is not a title.
The old ex-girlfriend.
The old ex-girlfriend.
What's it been like 3, 4 years?
8 years, 7 months, and 6 days, give or take.
That's odd.
Does that mean she was flipped?
Am I sensing feelings?
Well, you're right.
The only ones who gods care about is themselves.
Nice.
So this is my vow.
Straight out of the comics, right there.
All gods will die. I just want to say that was very, very impressive what you did back there.
Wait, did he say all gods must die?
He's just my first bad guy.
You never forget your first.
You are not like
Oh.
the other gods of kill. You have something worth fighting for.
Look black and white. Here.
So I wonder if they're doing it then with the sword.
Let's see who you are. I take off your disguise. And flick.
Oh,
You flipped too hard, damn it!
Should we help him? And eventually, great.
All right, July 8th, as we all know. Oh, okay, so that was Thor, Love and Thunder. I would say this is the official first full length trailer because this one was like 2 minutes and 18 seconds. I think the full first one was only like a minute. So I
Yeah.
still consider this like the first full length trailer. Okay, so that was that. First impression, Rev Jake, go for it. I don't know if I said this before. I've already seen it once, and this was my second time, so I noticed some other things. Rev Jake went into this blind, so we get
Yeah,
his initial reactions.
I went into this blind and I wasn't sold on the first trailer, to be honest. And I was a lot more excited after watching this. I thought it did a good job of letting me know what the story is, getting me excited about the villain. Really, yeah, I think he looks amazing. I'm super excited to see if he really does have the symbiote sword, which it looks like he might.
He
Um,
definitely has a sword, so
yeah, and well, traditionally in the comics, it's a symbiote. That's like
yeah,
the symbiote king or something like that.
yeah.
So that would be really cool. Yeah, I thought I heard him saying that he's going to kill all the gods for half a second, and I'm like, wait, was that him saying that, or was that Korg or not Korg, but the bad guy, the villain?
Gore the God Butcher.
Gore, yeah. Either way, I'm definitely far more excited about this movie now than I was before. Um, my last big thing that I think is a talking point here for me that I want to hit home is Thor is not a title. That's his name.
Actually, I thought his name was Odin's son. I thought Thor was his title.
No, well, Odinson is his last name.
No, I know well, but I think in the comics, I think they referred to him as Odin's son for a while, and I think Thor was the title he got because he was worthy of Mjolnir. That's from what I remember reading. We may have to.
I'm not aware of that, and I speak Norwegian, and Tor, which is Thor, it's how you actually pronounce Thor in Norwegian, is a common name still, just like you would see someone called Michael or Matthew, and it just really irks me if they try to pull something, even saying his real name is Odinson. They haven't introduced that in any of the other 3 movies. It's just.
I'm just saying. I thought I read somewhere that I mean, not read somewhere. I've read the Thor comic books, not super intently, but I thought when I was reading through comics, they referred to him as Odin's son for a while because he was not Thor. Like he didn't have Mjolnir. So maybe I'm wrong. I will submit.
I never read any of these comics in my life. I've never gotten into Thor as a comic character until the first Thor movie. And then I've seen him in some cameos in some of the animated shows. Especially I've been watching a lot of the animated shows with my kid lately. And so I kind of like the version of him that's in those shows. But at the same time, MCU one is fun as well. But yeah, so I don't have anything but that. I just, from the standpoint of the god, I think is more so in the actual real world religion. I think is more so where it bothers me. And like I said, just the fact that I happen to speak Norwegian and have that viewpoint as well, it bothers me. It's his name. It's not his title.
Okay. I mean, that's fine. Okay. So let's start talking about this trailer here. So we get this this spot here where Thor's doing his meditating again, and I think this time we get a little bit more of that spot where we have Korg down further in the hills talking to an alien race. Now they look like a light blue, so I don't know if they're Kree or if maybe they're whatever race Yondu is. I don't remember what race he is, but
now that you mentioned that, I remember hearing somewhere they are supposed to be exploring that race a little bit more in this movie, and I think that's who we were looking at here.
The Yondu race?
Yeah, Yondu. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's fine. I'm all for like building the cosmic side of the I mean, I love Star Trek, so I mean, like, and they've had years to build like this huge universe, expanded universe. So I'm okay with them building up this universe, exploring other races and in the MCU and everything like that. So I think this is good. But I mean, you've got your typical Taika Waititi narration type, funny. He's even trying to be funny, and he's talking about Thor, the god, and yada yada. And I'll stop here in a second, and then we can backtrack a little bit. He's getting ready for battle. We've kind of seen a lot of this already in the first trailer. It's got that new snazzy jacket, which is kind of new for this trailer.
I really feel like what all he did was sum up the first trailer.
I mean, really, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, here's everything that we showed you in the first trailer. I'm going to explain what you saw so it's clear what you saw, and now let's get on with the new trailer.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Here's the point that I want to stop and talk about. Look, I love this. I love the fact that New Asgard, it started, you kind of see some of these golden buildings in the background. Mm-hmm. These golden buildings in the background, like they're kind of starting to get into that like Norse looking, I don't want to say palace, but like those Norse buildings that look more gold than like the farmhouses and stuff. And then you've got the cruise ships out here. And I love that new Asgard is like a part of a cruise line. And it looks like, I swear to God, it looks like a golf course right here. Is that a golf course?
I think it's a golf course. They've said, I think they've said that this is supposed to be like a tourist trap right now, and that's where they're getting a lot of their income. Everyone's all like, dude, we can go see real gods. Let's go check this out. And then at the same time, all the people who live there are just like fishing people or whatever.
Yeah, they're just like, whatever. Well, we're cool.
But yeah, that's got to be a golf course. There's no way it's not.
Yeah, that's got to be a golf course. Okay, so but that's probably my highlight from this trailer is seeing the cruise ships, the cruise liners lined up right beside New Asgard. Okay, so he's then kind of summing up the him getting back into fighting shape and doing his exercise Rocky Balboa thing. What do you think about Thor? What do you think about Thor getting back in shape? Did you want Fat Thor to continue, or did you want Thor to get fit and back in shape?
I think it's important that he gets back in shape. It's a little sad they're going to do it over a montage. It's pretty apparent, but at the same time, Fat Thor kind of felt like it was just a fat shaming joke, and it was kind of funny at first, but the more it sat with me, the more it kind of like, all right. I mean, is that really the joke that we needed to make here? Is that Thor got fat and lazy?
I
Um,
see. Here's my thing, and I actually love Thor's journey through the Infinity Saga because it is definitely and yes, you're right. They do kind of fat shame in Endgame. I do agree with you. They do that a little bit, but Thor's journey, I think he's got one of the greatest character, like more so than Iron Man, more so than Captain America. I think Thor has got one of the greater character arcs in the MCU. Maybe Tim and Captain America kind of tied. Iron Man, I don't know about that, but I would say that Thor has. I mean, he loses his mother, his father, his brother. He goes through this depression. He fights his way back, and then he loses his home, and then and he has to come back from all of that. And I'm so glad in Endgame that they did not, like, when he like got Mjolnir or something like that. He didn't just get automatically skinny. Like the rest of the game, he was still Fat Thor because he had to live with with what he was, there wasn't an easy out for him
yeah.
so I really like that part of Thor, and I get it. I know people have the issues about the fat shaming, and it's more of a joke, and fair enough. I'm not saying that people are wrong about that, but I am saying that I really enjoyed the character arc Thor had in the Infinity Saga because he went from this pompous arrogant ass god to losing everything and becoming becoming something in the end that honestly was, I think, greater than anything I would have ever thought he would have.
No, I definitely agree with you. He's an amazing character arc. The depression he goes through and the way that Chris Hemsworth portrays that, I think, is fabulous. To touch on a couple of the specific points, though, I don't think the death of his mother carries forward into the movies very good until you get to Endgame when the Russo brothers take over writing for it. I don't think that Taika Waititi did enough to honor that storyline going into 3.
I agree with
Um,
you a lot there because I think, well, go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's okay. So I think that's true. And, going back to how his weight loss is part of his journey and his weight gain is part of his journey as well. And I think that there were some real moments there. So it's not all fat shaming.
Mhm.
And so I think that there's a little bit that they used too much of a joke. I'm a little sad they seem to be using it as a joke here. And I think that the montage section could hit that same note. And I think instead it'd be better if it was a long, hard journey for him throughout the movie, just like it is in Real Weight Loss, because it is a really long, hard journey. And as much as it shows he's working hard here, I think it'd be better if he had to do that while having to do the rest of the movie and not just like, oh well, I'm going to take some time off and spend the next year training and meditating on this planet. I think it should be, I wanted to spend the next year training and meditating on this planet, but then all this crazy stuff came up with, and I had to try to conquer both at the same time. I think that would be a little bit better of a story. But I really feel like from the 2 trailers we've seen so far, they're just going to montage it.
Yeah,
So
they will. They'll Rocky Balboa it, but I mean, it is only like it's going to be what, a 2.5 hour movie, so you can only do so much. But I agree with you. I think that if this movie did take place over a long period, like a months long period of time, I feel like they could work that in there, like his weight loss, and not make that big of a deal out of it, except for maybe Star Lord mentioning, "Hey, you looking good? Look like you lost some weight." But
yeah,
I agree with you that yeah, that
it's tied to the depression you talk about. So that way, it's also a character arc about his depression.
yeah, because then he fight. Yeah, and I agree with you. I mean, I think that the weight gain was was a part of his character arc, and now the weight loss is going to be part of his character arc too. And I'm all here for it. I mean, as I said, a lot of people thought, oh yeah, I hate Fat Thor because he's not sexy, and I'm like, well, but you know what? Did you really see what Thor was going through? Like, did you really care? I get it; it's a fictional character, but it's like with depression and stuff like that. Like, a lot of people can actually relate.
And I disagree. I think a lot of women still found Fat Thor sexy when he had his beard was braided and all that.
No,
I think
well,
there was
every
still some
woman
women
I've
out
talked to, every woman I've talked to has said, "Oh, I hated it because they made him ugly, or they made him fat, and they made him like blah blah blah." And I'm like, yeah, but you really missed the point. I really feel like so.
I guess my point is there are women out there that can see a plus guy as being good looking.
Well,
Maybe not all of them, and it may not be the popular opinion.
I just seem to can't find them. Can't find them, I guess. So
yeah, I'm kind of a fat guy myself. So
hey, I mean, right here, man.
You're right, and you're with someone, so there you go. They do exist.
Yeah, I pay her weekly. It's okay, All right, so I'm glad we touched on that point a little bit more, though. Okay, so we have some battling here, and we have this moment here, which is interesting. This was not in the first trailer, where Thor is sitting here, and he's like, "Oh, Mjolnir to me," and it's like right there at his fingertips, and then launches back into the hands of good old Jane Foster. Now, my point at this point that I want to stop is, do we think that this was too early? And okay, comic book nerds, we know this is Jane Foster. We understand that. We saw that she was casted as Lady Thor. Do we think though, because I have actually people at work who have they saw the trailer, like, who's the girl? They had no idea. So do we feel that they revealed, and they're very shallow, like, comic book movie fans. They don't know any of the comics. They don't even probably watch any of the trades that come out that say, oh, so and so is cast as Lady Thor, blah blah blah. So it's like, do we think that they revealed this too early, or do you think that this is? I mean, it's kind of like the Winter Soldier, in Captain America and the Winter Soldier. We all knew it was Bucky Barnes, but it's like, my girlfriend honestly thought she did not realize that it was Bucky until after the reveal, because I didn't say anything to her.
Yeah.
So,
I don't think so in this case. I think in this one, we're gonna get a buddy cop movie out of it, with the two of them working together through a lot of the movie is what I'm thinking. So I think this is going to be early enough in the movie where it doesn't make much of a difference if you know that she's Jane Foster or not. Whereas in Winter Soldier, that's the twist at the end. So I think there's a different situation there. But really, I mean, my prediction on this movie is that we're going to get a small scene with him at the Guardians of the Galaxy. Then he leaves them to go and be on his own with Yondu's tribe. That's going to turn into the workout montage, and then he's going to go immediately trying to get back into his old thing, and that's immediately when he's going to run into her. And I think that's going to be how quickly we get into this, and it's going to be the two of them dealing with with Gore, the God Butcher, after that.
okay.
I mean, do you think it's too early?
I'm iffy. I mean, as I said, I knew when she was cast as in the movie, they said that she was going to be Lady Thor. But I'm just saying, for like people who don't watch all those reveals and don't read all those news articles and stuff like that. So, what is up with this helmet? I don't know if this is like a traditional Thor helmet, like from the comics. I think this might have. Yeah, I think it's from like the 70s, maybe the 80s. I think there was a Thor.
Yeah,
I'm kind of looking through I was kind of paging through I think it's the one from the Mighty Thor, and like it looks, I think it's in the 1980s. So it does kind of look like that one.
Yeah, without the colors, it's got to be 80s based. The wings look familiar, but not the nose.
Yeah, no, I think it looks almost exactly, now that I'm kind of zooming in on it, and it does kind of look like that. Also, just so you know, he did change his name to Odin's son in the comics. Not saying that that's correct. I'm just saying that, like for Norse mythology. But I was kind of reading through here, and it does say after a storyline where when he couldn't lift Mjolnir again, he goes by the name Odin's son, not Thor, because Jane was Thor. So I'm just, as I said, I'm not debating the fact whether it's the name or not.
Yeah, I don't know.
I knew I had seen that somewhere, though.
It bothers me. I don't mind at all that she supplants him as Earth's defender, or the Asgardian defender of Earth. That she's got Mjolnir. That that she's got all the powers and everything. I'm all on board for it. From my understanding, I don't want to spoil anything, but based on the storyline that I'm aware of, she's got a really amazingly awesome, in-depth, and emotional story that I think is going to be fantastic for Taika to tell.
I mean, if they go that route,
Yeah.
it is a pretty heavy storyline. So, I mean, it kind of does hit home with certain people. So, I
Yeah.
mean, it will be interesting to see how Taika does it because I have no confidence in Taika to hit serious beats like that really well. Like, I mean,
Oh, have you ever seen his movie? I forgot what it is, where he's Hitler. He's making fun of Hitler in the movie.
no, I haven't seen it.
It's I have to look up the name of it, but you absolutely need to watch it, and you can see how he can cover a real serious subject matter and do it well. God,
Well, I mean,
it's really good.
just
Yeah,
based on what I saw in Thor Ragnarok, which, as I said, didn't have to be super serious, but at the same time, it's about the end of all things and the destruction of Asgard, and and you have Korg in the background going, "On this rock we will build it again," and then it explodes, and then he's like, "Oh, maybe not." It's like that moment right there really solidified me. Like there was a lot of issues that I had with Thor Ragnarok leading up to that. That was the moment that I was like, "Yep, I really just don't like this movie."
that's fair. I feel like that's more Marvelism than it is Taika, but Jojo Rabbit's the name of it. It's about a little
Oh,
boy
I've heard it.
growing
That's
up.
got Scarlett Johansson in it. I've heard of
Yes,
it.
and she is fabulous in it as well.
Well, she's hot, so yeah, of course she's fat. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
she is, but yeah, that's no. She acts very well in that.
um,
I recommend watching that movie as a side note. Really, really amazingly good. I bawled my ass off. Hit me right in the feels.
Gotcha. All right, so I think they're in New Asgard still when this is happening. So whatever battle this is probably in New Asgard. It kind of looks like they've got kind of that countryside rustic look, that at New Asgard had in Endgame. So I know that there's probably some Asgardian technology bleeding into New Asgard, but I think something's going on in New Asgard. And I don't know if it's necessarily Gore the God Butcher, but speaking of which, I'm going to skip forward a little because a lot of this is just, I don't. It's just a lot of Jane and Thor going back and forth and everything. So I don't feel like there's much going on there until we get to this guy, Gore the God Butcher. So yes, he has the sword here, like you said. I don't see, and this may just be because they're saving the surprise for the movie, with the symbiote. But it
Yeah.
does not look like there's any symbiote on that sword. I've seen the symbiote sword, and normally it has some kind of symbiote coming off of it visibly.
Yeah.
But as I said, this is Marvel. They could be just like, I mean, these are the people that threw the Hulk in the Infinity War trailer, and he was nowhere to be seen in Infinity War. So
Right.
they could just be holding out on us with this part.
Thor dies in the last movie's trailers too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. So we get a good shot of him right here.
This is what got me excited for this trailer, was looking at him.
Okay. I'm not a big fan of Christian Bale, but I will be excited because I mean this looks a lot more promising than Ragnarok to me, but as I said, I thought I was gonna love Ragnarok too. So when I saw the trailers for it. So in hindsight, I'm kind of I'm going into this one apprehensively, but I'm hoping that that Taika takes what didn't work in Ragnarok and makes it and refines it in this movie, because I feel like this movie needs to hit home for Thor because we're going into a whole new era of the MCU and Thor needs to he's already been redefined. Now Thor just needs to like solidify himself as what he's going to be moving forward. And that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be an Avenger. Like I don't necessarily think Thor's going to be an Avenger after this. So
I think they're gonna kill him. Hot take.
they're going to kill Thor in this movie? Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
How much longer? I mean, you think about it. I mean, most of the original cast is gone, and isn't having the God Butcher kill him the best way to do it, and then you can have Jane do another movie?
I mean, possibly. I don't want Jane Foster to. I like Jane Foster. I don't like Natalie Portman. There's a lot of people in this movie I just don't like.
I love my off the wall conspiracy theory ideas like this. Like again, I also think that we're going to see Kang in here. I don't know if I had a chance to tell you this one, cousin, but I've talked about it in the Moon Knight reviews. My theory is Kang anywhere and everywhere. When they killed the man at the end of time or whatever his name is in Loki, he said,
Mhm.
get ready for 1,000,000 of me.
Mhm.
And I think that if they're going to make Kang a Thanos level threat for Avengers 6 or 7, whatever, down the road, this is how you do it. You slip him in a bunch of movies.
Well, but here's the thing: is that they had a great opportunity to slip a version, at least like a non working version of him in uh in Moon Knight. They didn't do that.
They had
Um,
references.
did they? I don't.
Yeah. There's two different references. One of them is the biker. One of the guys that Jake kills inside in Cairo with that knife has a symbol of Kang on his back,
He
and
does.
then yeah, and then there's another. Well, because so one of the Kangs went back in time using the Sphinx as a time machine
Hmm.
and ruled ancient
Well,
Egypt for
as
a
as
period.
as Rama Tut,
Yeah.
I
So he
that I
had the
know.
Ramatut symbol on his back, and there's
Well,
another
okay,
reference to Ramatut somewhere in there. I can't remember what it is offhand. So
okay.
there's a
Well,
couple of
I'll have to look for
references.
that because I had never even read that or saw that or caught that anywhere. But I mean, and what was the other one? And then Doctor Strange, they definitely had. I feel like that instead of the Illuminati. Well, spoilers for Doctor Strange if you haven't seen it yet. Have you seen it, Jake?
Yeah, I've
Okay.
seen it. Yeah,
I feel like that instead of killing Thanos, they should have killed Kang, in their universe because there's a bunch of different, there's a bunch of different
yeah,
versions of Kang. So instead of Thanos, they killed Kang. So they just killed that version of Kang. It would have been a nice little nod towards Kang. I mean, I guess killing him in another universe may not make him look strong, but then
yeah,
again, if we see him sprinkled throughout, I just feel like that there's been many opportunities for them to sprinkle Kang in on him. I mean, I guess that's kind of like the Ten Rings tattoo though, on
right.
the one guy in Iron Man 2. Like, no, I mean, yeah, eagle-eyed people like you have caught that. I didn't even catch it. I've
No,
never even seen anybody talking about that. So it's like, yeah, that's pretty important to know because I was expecting a Kang, at least a small Kang reference, in Moon Knight, just because of the Egyptian lineage and everything like that going on there. So
yeah, I was hoping for something too. There was that little one. I'm thinking maybe if we get a season 2, they might do something with that.
let's
Um,
hope. I want
but
season two.
who knows if there's even going to be a season 2 at this point? It really doesn't sound like Oscar's excited about a season 2 yet. But at the same time, they roped him to season 1 when before that he said he wasn't going to do Marvel. So we'll see what happens.
Well, he
Um,
was an executive producer on Moon Knight, though, so that I think they gave him a lot of creative control. So I think that's why he was willing to do it.
yeah, that's probably part of it. Um, I was going to say something else, but I think also that with the movies getting delayed with the pandemic and everything, some movies got shuffled around in order. A lot of the TV shows got shuffled around in order,
Hmm.
and that might be part of it. Maybe they redid that shot from Kang to Thanos because I think one of the things. Like I said, I got the theory of Kang everywhere, which was what pulled us on this sidetrack.
Yeah,
Um,
right.
with that theory, I think that they might be holding off on that until he gets his public review or debut in Ant-Man, because they've said publicly, yep, he's an Ant-Man. He's going to be the main villain in Ant-Man, and I think that they're waiting for that one, and then they're going to start having him kind of keep popping up everywhere. And I think back to what you said about Multiverse of Madness, real quick. I think that movie was a disappointment in the scope of multiverses. And I think that they could have done a lot more with more multiverses or more universes, and Kang could have definitely been showcased as part of that, like you mentioned.
I
Um, I
I
haven't had a
agree.
chance to discuss my views of Multiverse of Madness with you guys yet, but I think on the level of how many multiverses there were, not enough.
That's a discussion for. I actually think it's nice to dip their toes in because I had people with the amount of multiverse that was in that movie. I had people that were thoroughly confused. Now these are, as I said, these are normies who don't follow it like we do, who don't, they aren't geeks like we are, and they don't. So I mean, but so they're the common watcher, and I feel like Marvel's being very careful to glide people, even normal people, into this. So
I don't think Multiverse of Madness is a movie for normal watchers, though.
oh yeah, no, absolutely not. That's what I told him. I said, well, I mean, how much do you follow the MCU? And he's like, oh, I watch X-Men.
Yeah, right. You have to have seen WandaVision, and if you have not
Yeah.
seen WandaVision, I don't think you should watch Multiverse of Madness any more than you should start on the last Harry Potter movie, Part B.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right, so back on track.
Yes. Oh, yes, Thor. So this year's Mount Olympus.
Yep, Mount Olympus. I can't tell if it's actually like I don't know if it was like a planet, like kind of like Asgard. It was like a planet, like shaped and basically it was. I think it's like Asgard. That's like kind of like its own planetary body, but it's kind of out, wherever.
Yeah.
You have here. I think they're what is that? I think those are just warriors, and I think Thor's just beating the crap out of these guys. Oh no, hey God, Butcher. Here we go. So here's a good shot. This is Lady Thor, and she's kind of messing up these guys here, which are I'm guessing Zeus's Olympian warriors. I don't know. Kind of like the Amazons have their, Amazon women. I don't know, but
I wonder if this is her saving him after he has his clothes ripped off or
oh yeah, later on in the film, I'm assuming so too. So more Thor and Jane just going back and forth. And then so here's a very interesting part because so here's the sword again. Not much. There might be a little bit of darkness up here at the top of the sword, so there could be some symbiote. But I'm pretty sure if there is symbiote, it's going to be CGI'd and a surprise for us later. I think.
Yeah, I agree.
But here we go. We have Gore taking this planetoid and destroying it, kind of like a celestial. Actually, remember from Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know. Do you think this might be Olympus, or do you think this is like a flashback of? I know it doesn't look like Olympus from this shot, but they could CGI Olympus, and like it could be Olympus. They're just holding that from us until the movie. But
I don't think this is Olympus. Honestly, I almost wonder if this is our moon. With some of the crazy things that they've done in the MCU lately, like the Eternal coming out, or not the Eternal, but the Celestial coming out of the Earth, it wouldn't surprise me if they blew up the moon next. But
well, I've got issues with that. We should get a bunch of people together for a whole video that's basically our issues with Phase 4, because I have some issues with Phase 4, and I don't want to sidetrack on this, but Eternals does have one major issue that I have with Phase 4 so far as a whole. Okay, so it might be the moon. I mean,
probably not. It's probably not, but I think it'd be interesting. Again, I love those off the wall theories.
That's okay.
The further out there, the more I'm loving it.
All right, so now, of course, we are back on Mount Olympus. We have Zeus, who is played by Russell Crowe. And here we have Valkyrie facing off against Gore the God Butcher. I don't know. I mean,
she's holding Zeus's lightning bolt.
She is. You are correct. I was just going to say that. I think she's holding the lightning bolt there. Do we think that Valkyrie might bite the big one here?
Yeah. Yeah. And they're fighting on with that rock that he blew up.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, maybe because they were on Olympus, and she does have Zeus's lightning. So
I really don't think it's Olympus. That looks so different.
No. I'm talking, but maybe they just did a different CGI for the background. You know what I mean? Maybe it's when they do the movie.
Because I suppose in the Thor 3, they did have that one scene that took place in an alley, and then in the movie it took place
in Norway.
Yeah.
So
they do that stuff.
Like maybe
but I don't think so.
Okay. I mean, I'm just spitballing.
Yeah. I wonder if they're going to call out the fact that that's supposed to be the same sword that severs the head of Nowhere, the one where they visit in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Maybe. All right, so here now we have this is still on Mount Olympus, probably, and I mean you can kind of. I think this is kind of Zeus's area right back here, where you have the. Do you think this is when they first bust in before they get captured, or do you think this is how they bust in to save Thor? Like they just they.
Well, so there's the one shot of them in the stands already, so it sounds like Valkyrie and Lady Jane or Jane are already here. So
Probably
I
Korg.
don't. So I think this is Thor coming in, and I think this is what gets Thor arrested.
Yeah, probably. You're probably right. And then we got some shots here. The Guardians. That is Dave, but you can barely see him. But that is Dave Bautista right there. And then there's Nebula. So we are going to see a majority of the Guardians in this movie. I mean, we've already seen them in trailers, but so this part here is kind of interesting. It's kind of that black. It's on that same planetoid as we saw earlier, but now everything's black and white. So I'm assuming that this might be where the final fight takes place.
Yeah.
You know, because we and oh my God! Actually, we got to talk about this scene. Are you seeing what I'm seeing?
No.
Okay, so we got Death right here. See the skull and the
Oh
cloak.
yeah.
We
I've seen
got
the Living Tribunal.
the Living Tribunal, Uatu the Watcher.
Oh yeah.
God, what's back there? Is that? I can't tell, and I don't even know. I think that I can't tell if that's a rock or not, or if that's something. But I can't tell what this back figure is. But that's that is very interesting right there. Can I screen cap this? I want to screen cap this. I don't know if I
This
can
must
do.
have something to do with how she builds Mjolnir back together.
It might. But yeah, that's this right here is very interesting. I can't tell who's that person in the very back. I want to say it's. I almost want to say it looks like Namor, but Namor's not on the level of these characters. But that definitely looks like Death. That's the Living Tribunal.
I don't want to say that's Death though, because it's supposed to be Lady Death in the comics, and Thanos being in love with her.
But I still think I mean
that
they
looks
kind of
more like traditional Death.
yeah. I mean I think they kind of shit the bed with Lady Death, but I mean.
But those could be some more of the other cosmic entities whose names escape me at the time. Because there are a whole bunch of other cosmic entities like that, like chaos and like time and stuff like that. I know I'm slightly wrong on their names, but I know that there is like a whole cosmic set of entities that control the primal forces and stuff like that. So it'd be cool to introduce some of that. That would be fun.
Yep. Okay. And then we get towards the end. Okay, so we get our Thor Love and Thunder, blah blah blah. And now we get our typical Thor nude or Thor extravaganza moment where Russell Crowe here, surrounded by his lady friends, he does a flick, and Thor loses all his clothes. So I'm pretty sure this is the most we've seen of Thor. Is that a tattoo on his back? Can you see that?
Yeah, I want to say scarring, but it could be a tattoo too. There's definitely something back there.
Yep. And then of course, I wonder if they're actually gonna. I don't think they're gonna blur this out in the movie. I think you'll see full Hemsworth rear end in this movie. I don't think that'll get an R rating. I think it'll be PG-13, and they'll give us full Hemsworth rear.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think they've teased it ladies long enough. And then here's Thor irritated with the fact that he flicked too hard. And then all the ladies faint because apparently Thor is hung like a horse. Valkyrie and Jane just kind of chilling and saying, should we intervene? And we say no. And then, of course, the last scene where I'm guessing this is on some alien world because there's a couple suns here.
Yeah.
And Thor jumping and destroying a whatever that is, a battle bike. I don't know, something with the aliens. So I'm guessing that's in the battle where he's in with the Guardians, at the beginning of the trailer.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, and that's it, July 8th, and we are ready to go. So, Rev Jake, I mean, we just kind of broke it down all sorts of ways till Sunday, and I mean, as I said, I'm still going into the skeptical. I am liking what I'm seeing, but I'm going in skeptical just because I was not a fan of Taika's Ragnarok, and so I hope it is good. I hope it is really, really good, and I get over my issues from the last movie, and I'm able to go in this with a fresh mind and be like, it's good, but it just depends on, I don't know.
I'm going to be honest. I generally kind of am a shill, and I enjoy everything they put out. And I even have a soft spot for Eternals and the second Thor movie. I know people hate. I had a good time.
That's my favorite Thor movie so far.
So I don't. There's nothing I don't like that they put out. Is kind of my thing. So I'm gonna enjoy it. It's gonna be a good time. I'm excited for it. I have my issues with it though, and I wonder if my issues are going to be kind of like what prevents me from enjoying Ant-Man, which is another fabulous movie that I have problems with.
I liked Ant-Man. I actually liked Ant-Man and the Wasp. I thought, I mean, granted, on the like this cosmic scale of it, like when it came out, because it was in between Infinity War and Endgame, I still thought it was a nice breath of fresh air between like such a heavy movie like Infinity War.
My problem with Ant-Man is that the premise of the entire movie relies on this plot device that he can't see his kid if he can't pay child support. Even though the mom wants him to see the kid wants to see him. He's a good with the kid. Nobody ever says he's bad with the kid or anything, but he can't see him if he can't pay child support. And the idea that they want to normalize that concept just offends me as a father.
Okay.
Especially as a father of a divorce, and from a divorce situation where she lived with mom. I think it's disgusting on such a personal level that I can't really watch the movie.
Okay, I know, you know what, I get it. I when you come at it from that angle, I understand.
Yeah, I sometimes I can tune it out. It's got some fun stuff to it. Paul Rudd's fantastic. I love the second movie. Yeah,
I like Evangelical Lily's Wasp. I think she's great.
Evangelion. Yeah. Though apparently she might not be coming back because she's anti-vax.
Well, they're having the same problem with what's her face? Right, I can't remember her first name, but from Black Panther 2. They're having the same issue with her.
Oh yeah, I heard the same thing. Apparently she filmed it. She's in Black Panther 2. She filmed it and whatnot, but they're like they don't know what's going on with Black Panther 3 or anything with her character going forward because of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I am not in a position to make those decisions as a company. So, I mean, there are people who get paid way more money. I believe in letting people believe what they want to believe, but then again, I also believe that people should work in a safe work environment. So, it just all depends on your point of view, and I'm not going to get into that fact. But, okay. Well, overall, I mean, as I said, I am definitely excited about this, but I was excited about Ragnarok. I'm trying to go into this with an open mind. I am excited for Lady Thor. I like the idea of Lady Thor. And even though I'm not a fan of Natalie Portman, I am excited for Lady Thor because I like Lady Thor in the comic books.
It looks like she's actually going to try in this role. I'm excited.
Yeah, I don't like Natalie Portman in the MCU just because she was being all hoity-toity. And I understand why she was being hoity-toity about it, because she's like, I don't want to be just another damsel in distress. So I'm hoping that she knocks us out of the park and it kind of redeems, because I hate it when people go against the MCU and they're just like, well, I want more to do. And it's like, okay, I understand that, but at the same time, the movie's not exactly about you either. That's why I'm kind of glad that they moved away from love interests in Marvel movies. Like, if you notice, there's not. I think Doctor Strange 2 is one of the first movies that kind of moved back towards that love interest angle, with Christine Palmer. But honestly, it wasn't even that predominant in this movie like it was in other ones.
I think they've done a good job at keeping it to just iconic relationship characters in the books and not really needing that to be a focus. But it's a large focus in Spider-Man because that's how it is in the comics. And I think they've done good to not force it in where it doesn't belong, though. So, it'll be good. Okay.
Well, Jake, thank you very much for joining me for this trailer review. Everybody, let us know down below what you think of this trailer. Let us know what you think about our thoughts. If you want to start a discussion, man, hit us up. We love having the discussions in the chat. And maybe we will have some more discussions about Thor Love and Thunder here in the near future. With that all being said, Rev Jake, thank you very much for joining me.
Rock on.
Is there anything you want to plug or anything like that? Any channels, any...
No, I'm not doing much on YouTube these days. Sadly, having a 1.5-year-old has killed too much of that time for me. But you can find me here on NerdTube. I'm excited to
YouTube.
Well, yes, it's getting late in the night over here. As you can see, in fact, sun is set on me, and I didn't go turn the light on. But no, you can always catch me here on NerdTube, and I'm excited to be talking. I think Kenobi is our next conversation that I'm going to try really hard to make every week.
Yep. All right. Well, everybody, we are NerdTube. We are the greatest YouTube channel you maybe kind of sort of heard of. We will catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.
See you.